Well, hello everybody. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the Pharaoh. Well, I call it a tank because basically that's what it is. But it's sort of like a hybrid, sort of a half a dripper and half a tank. It's actually really, really good, and I'm really enjoying it. Just to give you an idea, I'm doing 60 watts. No, I'm going to do 50 watts. Okay, just to give you an idea, I have a single coil alien in here. It's a pretty big alien. Uh, the cores, I believe, are Canthol, but the outer wire is stainless steel. Here's a good example of what you get with that. And it's got some decent ramp up, so it's not that bad on the first pull. Now, it's not really that much of a cloud machine. This is definitely not a cloud or RDA or slash tank. All right, this is more for flavor. Let's take another pull. So, I mean, it clouds up really nice, but maybe nowhere near as nice as, say, a real cloud RDA. I'm also using the drip tip that has the spit back protection in it. Okay, and I don't really find that it cuts back on the flavor. Maybe a little bit here and there, but not that much. But before I really tell you how it really works and whatever, I want to talk some. Well, you know what? Yeah, let's talk a little bit about how she works. Okay, I'm gonna take off the top cap and barrel here. Okay, this is the top cap and barrel, and this is what it looks like inside. I do kind of need to change the wick a little bit, but not by much. I mean, it's still fairly good. Lots and lots of room in there. You can really get some big coils in here. This is a 3mm ID, and I'm going to sit here and tell you right now, 3.5 and 4mm ID coils, no problem. But let me tell you what is a problem. If you're looking to do dual coils, this really isn't for you, because you see on either side of the screw, okay, that's where it has, each coil has to be installed. So if you do dual coils, you kind of have to do small Claptons, small fused, or very small aliens, nothing really big. 4 wraps, possibly 5 if you could fit it. Okay, so you can do, like I said, if you have, I've made personally myself, I've made some really small fuse Claptons with very small wire in the past, and I know I've purchased very small fuse Claptons. They would fit, okay, but something bigger, 2 coils, not worth it. Not worth even the attempt. Okay, so in my opinion, okay, this tank slash RDA is really truly for monster single coils. So all you dual coil cloud chasers out there, this is not really for you. If you are a flavor chaser, if you want to try out single coils for flavor tasting, flavor chasing, big monster coils, or you know what? I too, I'm probably more closer to a cloud chaser than a flavor chaser, but I like my flavor. I mean, that's why I like RDAs better than tanks, because RDAs, even cloud chasing RDAs, they really give you that flavor. They give you so much flavor compared to a tank. It's ridiculous. All right, true, my experience with tanks are limited, but compared to a TFV4 with those Clapton coils, that the made up ones, not the ones that you put on an RBA deck. I'm saying like the Clapton coils that you buy. I forgot what they were called. Let me see if I still have something here. Yeah, I do. I have this stupid thing. The TFS6 or something like that. Or is it, and the writing's kind of faded. I think I got juice on it, got faded. Well, anyway, whatever the TFV4 coils were, the Clapton ones, I don't remember what number it is. And I know it wasn't the number I gave. It was the one underneath, and that's completely gone. It's faded away or whatever. Those had good flavor. They had really good flavor, even if you vaped it at like 60 watts. Awesome flavor. But in general, tanks just don't have the flavor. This, on the other hand, is a really, maybe not the best flavor chaser out there, but it's pretty damn good. And certainly for the price, 35 to 40 bucks retail. Come on, this is nice. Certainly good flavor. Alrighty. So what can I really say about it? Well, it's hybrid friendly. Okay, so that's a plus. All right. It doesn't have a protruding pin by leaps and bounds like some of the new Limitless products and maybe some other RDAs and whatnot out there. But it's at least hybrid friendly, and it has tons of airflow. I might be vaping it at 50 watts. I typically vape this 50 or 60 watts. But let me tell you something. I have vaped this up to 90 watts without issue. Okay? It really, really, really does a good job. Even if you like a very, very warm, dense, almost hot vape, it'll give it to you. All right? And Clouds for Days for a flavor chasing atomizer. But let's talk a little bit about the cons. Uh, 3 airflow holes all on one side. And you could close them off. You could close it down by just turning this little ring, okay? With one hole open, it restricts a lot of air. All right. But the way it's set up is that if you close it down to the last hole, to only one hole open, and well, let me say it like this: there are 3 holes at the bottom of the deck for all three of these holes. Okay, and so when you close it all the way down to a one hole open, the center hole isn't hitting, is closed off. It's actually one of the side holes that are open. So that's kind of, you know what I mean? It's kind of. I'm not saying it's a big con, but I would I would have liked if I were to close it all the way down to close it down to just one hole. That would be the center hole of your coil, the center hole, because that would be the center of your coil, So that's kind of wishy-washy. Another con. Alrighty. As I explained before, you really don't lose much flavor if you use this spit bat protection. I've been using it because between the coil and sometimes taking very slow inhales, I'll get a lot of spit back, okay? Because the coil's popping and spitting and splashing inside, and because I'm not pulling very fast, I'm trying to restrict my airflow without closing down the holes. And the reason why I do that is a couple of reasons. I like to keep all 3 airflows open because my coil is that big. I want all the air hitting the coil. So, I want my coil to be hit in the center, on one side, on the other side. I want it to hit as much as possible. So I actually leave all 3 air holes open and then just slow down my inhale. and that gives me that nice restrictive feeling where you're getting maybe a little extra flavor and it's warmer. I like a warm vape. I don't like a hot vape, but I like a warm, nice warm vape. So even at low wattages like 50 watts, I'm getting a warm vape. Maybe not as warm as 60 or 70 watts, but it's warm. It's beginning to be warm. What else? Oh, yeah. So I use this like this drip tip, right? And the drip tip is pretty good because I kind of need it for spitback. But the thing is that there are a lot of small, tiny holes on the outside. If you see it, right? You got a big hole in the center, and you got these little holes around the big holes, and the holes closer to the side of the the holes that are on the furthest outside, okay, closest to the side walls of the inside of your drip tip, they get clogged very fast. I would say that after your second session, let's say you take 4 to 5 pulls and you put it down, and that's your vape session. I would say that by the end of your second vape session, you need to remove your this drip tip, and then tap it on a paper towel or something like that, because it gets clogged and with juice, and and the juice doesn't re-drip back down into the 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 deck, so to speak. So what happens is now you no longer have spitback protection because now you're getting juice splashing in your mouth because the drip tip's all soaking wet. Okay, it retains the juice, and then the outer ones will fill up first, then the ones like in the middle, and then the center. The center hole I don't think ever gets clogged, but all those outer circles, all those little outer holes, they'll get clogged up. There are a couple of RDAs out there that have spitback protection. A lot of them are Filipino RDAs, so many of you won't know what I'm talking about. But if you know the vape breed Addy, or they have a vape breed too, but I don't really like that. And just recently they came out with the vape breed 24. It's a 24 millimeter. Basically, it's a 24 millimeter version of the original vape breed that came out, I don't know, six. You know what? It came out around the time I got my Aventador, maybe about a month or so before I got my Aventador. And by the time I got my Aventador, I was actually going to buy the vape breed Addy, the first vape breed Addy. But he didn't have any left. He sold out a day or two before I arrived. And that has spitback protection in it too, but it was much more open. So you got actually less spitback protection, but it never got clogged with juice. The juice will drip right back down into your deck. So you could basically, even though it has spitback protection, you could drip right down the center of the damn thing and don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Because it'll just all go into the deck. This is not like that. You have to you have to tap it on a towel or something. Otherwise, it's worse than not having spitback protection, okay? And if you inhale very quickly, like you're cloud chasing, you won't even need you won't need it. You won't need the spitback protection. I just use it because I'm vaping very low wattage for me. 50 watts, 60 watts. That's what I did back in the beginning. Okay, today I do 60 watts, but that's when my lungs are kind of bad, So I'll do 50 or 60 watts when my lungs are bad. But on good days, well, let's take a look at here. Here's my Limitless XL. Okay, I'm doing 80 watts, but that's 4.1 volts at 0.21 ohms. Okay, so I mean, I'm always either just shy of 4.2 volts or I'm just above 4.2 volts. That's about where I vape. today. So I'm vaping like 80 watts or 75 watts or 90 watts, depending upon the coils. Because I'm always vaping around that 4.2 volts, somewhere in that zone, a little just below or just above. That's about where I'm vaping typically, unless I'm really trying to blow clouds or something. So this at 50 watts, okay, it's a 0.39 ohm coil, although it's showing up as 0.40 right now, so maybe it's, time to clean the damn thing. I don't know. But, you know, it's showing up as 4.35 volts already at 50 watts. So, I mean, you know what I mean? So 60, 70, 80 watts, I'm pushing some voltage. Especially when I did 90 watts. I don't remember what the voltage was, but it was up there. For me anyway, it was up there. So, whatever. Again, this is really a flavor chasing atomizer. And it should be really looked at that as that way. I'm getting actually, like I said, decent vapor for a single coil, and I'm getting very, 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 very good flavor for what I call a cheap RDA slash tank. I mean, this isn't a Petri. This is not a Kennedy or some other flavor chasing atomizer. I, the way I look at it, this Tsunami 22 millimeter, this is not a cloud chaser. This is a flavor atomizer. It blows nice clouds, but it's bottom airflow, dual coil or single coil. It's a flavor chaser. And this has great flavor, better than anything else I have. With the Pharaoh coming in a close second, maybe. It's just different. It's a different vape than that. It just, it's hard to describe. It's just different. Maybe because it's made for big, fat single coils, and I'm typically running my Tsunami as a dual coil. It's just kind of different, if that makes sense. So I'm not thrilled with the airflow control, mostly, like I said, because I'm forced to keep all of them opened, and with all of them opened, I would say I'm forced, but I keep all of them open because I want the entire coil hit with air. And as a result, I have to kind of almost regulate how quickly or slowly I inhale, based off of, based off of what I'm getting from it. And I guess that's okay, but if I'm really truly flavor chasing like I do on my Tsunami, I like to kind of tighten, make it a little more restrictive. You know, especially like I put in coils last month or so, and they were not high ohm coils, but higher than I normally do on a mech. And I really kind of had to close down or restrict the airflow because it just wasn't enough, for me. So I kind of missed that. I kind of missed the fact that I could restrict, give some restriction to this. It's really, there's just no restriction there. I'm not trying to blow, I'm not even turning it on. I'm just giving you an idea of what it even sounds like. It's just, there's no restriction there. So it kind of like acts like a cloud chaser, even though it's more of a flavor chaser. I'm lucky. My friend's version, let me show you something. My friend's version has a little knob where you open and close, where you fill it. I know it's going to be hard to see, but it's located right here. There's a knob, okay, and you can push it to the side or push it back that way, and it opens and closes the areas where the wicks are, okay? See, so if I push this to the side, it opens it up and you could fill it. And you push it back and it closes, okay? And mine is not stiff. I'm lucky. Mine is not stiff. My friend's was very stiff. You really needed to dig your nail in there and push and push and push and push and open it. And he's very sick and tired of that. He's like, I don't know how much longer I'm using this because it's a pain in the neck. Mine's not like that. I think his was just damaged or a defect or something like that. Let's have another vape and I'll talk a little bit more. Alrighty. So while that's good that mine's not stiff, let me tell you what I didn't realize. You know, like when you borrow something just to like the only reason why I know a little bit about the Pharaoh before I got it is because I build and install coils for a couple of friends of mine who are too lazy to do so. And so I would build the coil, wick it up, fill it, blah blah blah, and then do a quick vape, test it out, and hand it to him. You know, but now that I have it and I've used it for a week, let me tell you a little bit more of the downsides. It only has a 2 millimeter or 2 millimeter, a 2 mil juice well. And then you add cotton into it, right? You have to stick the cotton down into the juice well, sort of like a Limitless Plus or something like that. You have to stick the cotton down into the juice well, and well, that takes up room. 2 mil juice well with cotton in it is now like a mil and a half, maybe a mil. If you stuff a lot of cotton down there, which you really don't need a lot of cotton. There's no reason to have a lot of cotton in there. But you kind of lose a half a mil of juice just from your cotton, you know? So that's a con that because now I do 3 vape sessions, like say 5 hits 3 times, and I kind of have to fill it up. Whereas on the Limitless XL, this has a 4 mil juice well, and I don't know. I mean, I just don't fill it up as fast. I could take 8, maybe 8 sessions or 7 sessions. I don't know. I don't count, but the only reason I'm counting is because I was like, wow, I'm dry cotton already. I'm tasting dry. Where it was not a dry hit, but you kind of know when the cotton's wet and when the cotton's not wet, and I'm like, wow, the cotton's kind of getting dry already, and yeah, So for me, 3 good vape sessions or 4 little sessions, you got to fill it up. You'll see, and so it's kind of, yeah, you know what I mean? It's almost like, well, why even have it like this? Might as well make it a dripper, But that's because I'm a dripper. I'm not a tank guy, so I'm gonna be a little, critical of it. You know what I mean? But so like I was very critical of the Limitless XL tank, but let's face it, I was very critical of the tank because I loved it that much. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you right now, I've gotten a lot better with the wicking. I know how to wick it where I put so little cotton in there now. I don't even come close to stuffing it. Oh my God. I don't know how my tank isn't leaking all over the place. I have no idea. I don't even have cotton in there. It's like I pretend I have cotton in my Limitless XL right now on my dual coil deck. I pretend to have cotton in there and don't leak it, don't spill it, don't nothing. The damn thing's amazing. And I really don't have jumping anymore on that as long as I really wrench down deck into the base. I don't have no more old jumping, so that tank is, I love it. This isn't bad either, though. Uh, if I had to say which is better, the Limitless XL with a single coil deck, or this, I'm gonna say that this could fit much bigger coils, much bigger coils. I would love to have one of Stephanie's big monster coils in here. I have a bunch of coils from Wicked Ways that I'm going to start slowly installing in here. Some of them are pretty big. Some of them are kind of half normal, but they're crazy. See, you might not know this about Wicked Ways, but he typically doesn't build typical coils. He doesn't typically build aliens or or fused, staggered fused, or stapled staggered fused, or any of the. Okay, he just does his own thing. You know what I mean? I've seen other builders do similar coils to this, but he has, I don't know who invented. I think he just makes stuff up. I think he takes like 5 6 wires, and he just, I don't know, he uses some voodoo, slaps shit together, twists this, twists that. I don't know what he does, but those coils are crazy. Okay, so I got a bunch of coils from him that he sent months ago that I've only used a couple of them in the past. Well, now I have a single coil thing here that I'm gonna start throwing a lot of coils of those type right in here, because that's what this is made for. Nice big single coils, crazy stuff, ribbon fuse this and ribbon that. It's gonna be perfect in here. This is all right, but while the deck is maybe a little smaller and blah 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 blah, maybe can't fit the biggest monster coil like you can with the Pharaoh, this single coil deck with the air holes mostly closed down. I mean, you need a little bit open, but mostly closed down. 60, 70, 80 watts. Oh my God, the flavor. It's like so clean. It's so delicious. It's maybe flavor wise a drop better than this. A drop. So which is better? Like I said, one could put bigger coils in it. The other one can't. Whatever. There's one other con. You have to be very careful when you fill it up, because otherwise you'll get leaking down the sides and it'll run down onto your deck. You won't even notice it, but if you're not watching carefully, because it doesn't, like when you're filling it up in those holes inside that I showed you, it might leak out by the posts. It might not leak out by the holes as you're filling it up. If you fill it up too high, it might leak out like by the posts and run down and get onto your mod underneath it. Like it runs right behind, it'll run down, run right behind the airflow control ring and go right onto your mod, creating little haze or puddles or whatever. But also sometimes I, breathe into this hybrid tank RDA. Watch this. And when you do that, when you breathe into that, breathe into this hybrid, I think it hits a little bit of the airflow control ring and then drips down onto your mod. So That's another con. And I know I'm listing con after con after con after con, but I want people to know and understand what they're getting into. That reviewers never tell us. I mean, what reviewers will tell you two, three cons. They're not going to give you the full six, seven, eight cons. You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of giving you all the cons. But with all those cons, this is not so bad. If you're a cloud chaser and you'd like to get into flavor chasing, 35, $40. You can't go wrong with this. You can't go wrong with this. And I'm talking, that's retail. All right. And online, maybe it's only $5 cheaper, but that's not bad. That's a good price. Uh, so, so for such a cheap price, if you're willing to try single coils, if you're willing to flavor chase a little bit, you can do it. This is the deal. This is, flavor chasing and a little bit of cloud chasing. It's not so bad. But you see, the wicks are already starting to get dry. And maybe I didn't completely fill it up just before this review. I did kind of, throw some juice in there. You know? So, would I recommend this for everybody? No. But if you're really looking for single coil monsters, this is the deal. You can't go wrong. Heck, you don't like it? It's 35, $40. Come on. It's not like you spent $80, $90 on some flavor chaser. You know what I mean? You spend $35, $40 if you don't like it. So it's so if I had to rate it, from 1 to 10, 10 being best, to give you an example, the Limitless XL, I would give it a 9, 9.5. I'm telling you, even with all the flaws, I will overlook some of the flaws on the Limitless XL because it's just that good. So I'd give it a 9.5. This I would give about an 8.5. Okay, I would give this an 8.5 out of 10. I actually really like it. I really enjoy it. And while it's not my main item, I have been using it every single day for a week. And this is my second go-to. You know what I mean? My Limitless XL, believe it or not, is my go-to main item. I know I'm an RD guy, and don't tell anybody this, all right? I mean, the Limitless XL is my main go-to. It always has one-hit wonders.